Our guest is the leading contender for the Republican Party nomination, Herman Cain. Thanks for being with us, Mr. Cain. I know you're on a tight schedule, so I appreciate that.
Michael, I'm happy to be with you.
A couple more questions, and I'll give you a chance to say anything that I didn't have the good sense to ask you. Ron Paul has proposed a very aggressive set of cuts, $1 trillion in cuts. Is there anything in that set of cuts and department eliminations that you say, no, I couldn't do that?
No, there's nothing in there that I say that I couldn't do. The difference between Representative Paul and Herman is how he would go about doing it. I would go about it more in a business-like fashion. You know, I do believe that I can do an executive order and do a 10% cut across the board, going in sight unseen in terms of what's in those departments. Then what a businessman does, which is what I would do as president, take each federal agency and do what you call a deep dive and look at individual programs and cut out whole programs, duplicative programs, and inefficient programs. The Government Accounting Office document these all the time. So whether or not some of them would be totally gone, I don't know that until I take a look at all of them. But I do believe that we got a lot of room to do a lot of cutting in a lot of those agencies.
Herman Cain is our guest. Rick Perry had an issue that blew up on him. It was a Washington Post reporter wrote the story of Iraq. We don't know what happened. We don't know that much about the story. But the very weekend, you were asked for your comment, and the story was just breaking, and you said that Rick Perry was insensitive. The next day, you seemed to pull back from that. What is your position now?
I'm not sure which specific comment you referred to, Michael. Forgive me when I said Perry was insensitive.
With regard to Iraq with a reference. You used the N-word, I won't. You said, let's just get it out there.
Not Iraq. You mean the Rock.
Iraq, yes. Not the country we're leaving, but the rock with the painting on it.
Now I know which rock you're talking about. Not Iraq, you're talking about the Rock.
These racial matters, we have to be very careful how we say these things. It was very clipped language.
Let me say this. I said that if Governor Perry knew that terminology with the N implication was in it, that was insensitive. Then I went on to say, I don't believe that represents how Governor Perry feels about black people. And since I didn't know the exact timeline of when they actually painted over it, I'm not all bent out of shape about it. If it had been there until 1981, when this whole civil rights movement happened in the 60s, I'm saying to leave it there that long, whoever was responsible is insensitive. But I don't know for sure that he was aware that it was there that long. But I still don't think under any circumstances that it reflects how Governor Perry feels about black people.
You have been very kind with your time. I have one question, then I'll let you make a closing statement. And I just lost my question. Where did it go? I absolutely lost my question. Well, then I tell you what I'll do. I'll give you an opportunity. You've been very kind with your time to make a statement to people that are just hearing about Herman Cain, a little of who you are or why they should vote for you or where your campaign is.
Take a look at Herman Cain, because America is at a crossroads. We can continue down this road of socialism, which would eventually lead us to communism. And yes, I said the S word and the C word, because that road means more government, more taxes, more government regulations. And it's clear that that's where this administration is taking us. If you want to get back on the road that the Founding Fathers intended, which was a road for less government, smaller government, less taxes and less regulation, and more individual responsibility, allowing our free market system to do what it does, then you want to elect somebody like Herman Cain. No, I have never held public office, but that's exactly why you need to take a look at Herman Cain. But look at all of the people who have held public office and look at the mess that we are in. I believe that shining city on a hill that Ronald Reagan talked about has slid down to the side of the hill. And the American people are saying loud and clear, they want that shining city on a hill to go back to the top of the hill where it belongs. And in order to do that, it's going to take a different type of leadership. And I happen to believe, based upon the feedback that I have gotten from so many people around this country, that new leadership should be Herman Cain.
Speaking today at the Clear Lake Tea Party rally at 6 o'clock at Gulf Greyhound Park. Easy to get to right off of 45. Mr. Cain, if you'll indulge me, I remembered my question. It's kind of important to me. there's a bit of a cottage industry between Cornel West and Tavis Smiley, who's been on the show, and a number of others, race baiting and race hating, I would argue. But I listened in this morning to the Tom Joyner Morning Show, which I used to listen to years ago because they did this great little soap opera thing. And the language they were using toward you in particular, who seemed to be a threat to these people, it was crass. I was embarrassed for them. References to Uncle Tom, their references to criticizing that Godfather's Pizza is not any good. When you hear this, are you a threat to these people? And how does it, as an individual, make you feel that people some blacks seem to be attacking you for the very reason that I would argue you are a threat to them?
When I hear that kind of rhetoric, Michael, it really amuses me because it's an indication that they are desperate, and the only tactic that they have is name-calling to try and intimidate me into coming back on the plantation, which means don't think for yourself. And, yeah, I say the plantation word and I get in trouble. But they're also trying to intimidate other black people into not thinking for themselves by trying to basically put a negative view on me. So, but the good news is, and this is the good news, most black people aren't listening to them anymore. Their rhetoric is becoming more and more irrelevant, and I see it and hear it every day. So whereas that's their only tactic, I don't let it distract me, and it certainly doesn't change what I believe or what I am doing. It is a sign of desperation on their part to try and be relevant when I am making the solutions to problems very relevant in what's going on.
Speaking to the Clear Lake Tea Party rally today at 6 o'clock at Gulf Greyhound Park. Thank you very much for giving us so much of your time.
I always enjoy it, Michael. Thank you.
The Michael Berry Show.